Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to Messages from Mars, your audio check in, very first time audio check in for the astrology for the week ahead. We're looking specifically at the week of June 10th through the 16th. And let me just say, it isn't going to be subtle, but it's definitely not boring. So let's look at the week ahead. Jupiter, the planet of capacity. Jupiter is very much like, let me help you hold more in life. Oh, you have your hands full? Let me create larger arms. Let me stretch you. Your dreams, your emotions, your schedule, your body, all of it. Let me stretch. And now Jupiter has moved last night into Cancer, which means we're really expanding in areas of what we find emotionally safe. Family, nourishment, emotional safety, like I said, your intuition, all of these things are going to be expanding and getting bigger. But expansion, as it pertains to all of this healing, doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's like I poured some oat milk into my morning smoothie and now I'm crying. And that's because Cancer feels everything. Cancer is the memory keeper. So, for instance, this week, I am really settling into my new normal, and I've been working on my family altar. And with Cancer ruling over the stomach and the intuition and the breasts and all of these kind of places where we keep the memories. We keep these memories in our heart, right behind the breasts, and we keep them in our gut and our intuition because it helps us build it as we go along through our life and our life experience. So Cancer feels everything and the body holds memory, but it wants to protect those soft parts. And so when Jupiter comes in, like, hey, what's boundaries? We don't need those. And Cancer, God love Cancer. Okay. Cancer, y'all have one boundary. If you haven't listened to my episode on the best workouts for Cancer, definitely go back and listen to that now. And I kind of explain it a little bit more in detail. But Cancer has one boundary, and it's that hard ass shell that keeps you protected. But once people crack through that first layer of boundary, it's kind of a free for all. So when Jupiter's like, we don't need even that one, there's this feeling of surging emotions that maybe you can't name in the moment, or maybe you're kind of wanting this softer side to be brought forward. This would definitely be why, because this is an amazing time to look at where Cancer falls in your chart, because that is the area of life that will be expanding. For me, I just moved to a new city, and though I have a couple people that I really consider very good people and good friends, and definitely people I want to build with. So, this Jupiter moving into my 11th house of friendships creates the opportunity for me to see how I can help my community grow, see how I can grow myself within my community, and how my friendships show up in that capacity. For you, my recommendation it would be to look at where Jupiter is in your house now. If you don't know, and that's why you read the Messages from Mars email every week, or that's why you are now listening to this, I just want to say that you are always welcome to book either a medical astrology reading with me. If you want to come visit me in person, every Sunday I'm at Deja Vu Esoterica in Southtown in San Antonio. But these are times that you can grab readings from me. If you live far away, my medical astrology readings and my astrology and mediumship readings are both available virtually. And the really cool thing about virtual is that as long as the internet doesn't eat our recording, you get to download it and keep it and reference back to it. So that's really cool too. But you want to look at what's going on because Jupiter is moving through a specific house in your chart. And wherever that house is, that's where the expansion's happening. So let me help you look at what's growing in life. Later on June 10th, Mercury is in Cancer, but it's going to be squaring Saturn and Neptune, which are in Aries. And this is a really subtle but really powerful planetary aspect because Mercury in Cancer is going to be intuitive, but a little emotional. a little hard to put your finger on what's going on with them. Is it that they are so much in their brain that they're feeling the emotions that they've been putting away until now? Or is it just like we let our brain wander and now it's making things harder emotionally for us? But it's squaring off with Saturn and Neptune that are both in Aries. And now for your body, what that might look like is feeling very hormonal, maybe like very wiry, but very tired. And your mood is just ever changing. Aries rules the pituitary glands. This could show up as headaches. This could show up as sight issues sometimes, random emotional bursts that lead to headaches. Maybe you get like a migraine and then your eyesight's, shit gets blurry, whatever it is. If you're feeling like this, working with herbs that help with the hormonal imbalance, just in case it's that, or working with cutting off the emotional stressors are going to be really important. If it's hormonal, and we can look at ashwagandha, consider something like lemon balm, which will also ease the tension in your body. Raspberry leaf, Vitex is also really good. Vitex berries. These are going to be really helpful with the hormonal stagnation because sometimes uh, Saturn in Aries, it wants to keep everything in, and then we have too much pressure in our head. So helping release emotions, release some heat out will stop that boiling water feeling that you have between the water sign of Cancer and the fire sign of Aries. Also, if you're a cardinal sign, so Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you're probably the one that's like texting the friend group, being all like, why do I feel this way? And I will tell you that my moon personally is in Capricorn, and I have been feeling a little bit like boiling water. True, I do have teenagers that I'm raising, but I want to show up in very soft ways. And I do find myself the last like 24 hours being like, why do I feel this way? And just remember, you're not losing it. It's just in the chart for the week. On June 11th, the full moon is in Sagittarius. And this full moon is known as the strawberry moon. And it is definitely wild horse energy. There is this rhythmic gallop. We'll keep using the horse analogy. There's this gallop within us that's like move your legs, stretch, exhale. If you ever want to know, like, oh, how do I tell which one's a new moon? How do I tell which one's a full moon? The new moon is always in the sign that you're in currently. So when we had the new moon a couple weeks ago, it was a new moon in Gemini. Now we have the full moon. The full moon is going to be opposite of the sign you're in. So in this case, it'll be a full moon in Sagittarius. And the breath in is going to be represented by Gemini, and the breath out, that expansion breath, is going to be represented by Sagittarius. Now, this comes when Jupiter is moving into Cancer, but the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So if you think of that expansion, I just want to go and I just want to get out of here, that is very important for Sagittarius. I will say that we might have this energy within our large muscle masses where we feel like instead of laying down, maybe our muscles are just too active at night. Remember, Sagittarius is part man, part horse. So you want to let your legs run. You want to let your lungs expand. You want to shake off this stuck energy. And also, a Gemini sun and a Sagittarius moon isn't doing you any favors for sleep in general. Don't skip walking or dancing through the day or getting out that energy, that kinetic energy in good ways, because by the time you sit down at the end of the day and try to start your bedtime routine, you're definitely not going to be able to fall asleep right away unless you've taken the time during the day to get out that energy. But also, this moon is what's known as in the bends. And basically, that just means it's squaring the lunar nodes. What that does is it intensifies any of the feelings that you're having. So we have this full moon. So now it's going to bring enormous amounts of pressures from that might manifest as feeling dysregulated, or maybe you're exhausted during the day or having 3 a.m. thoughts about like, what's my life? What's my purpose? Why does my bank account look like that? Why is my ex from 2019 texting? Gemini sun might even throw some speech issues or racing thoughts. You know, when you have the thoughts falling out of your brain so quickly that you cannot even keep up with the words. I know I am definitely that person, unfortunately, but you might find these scenarios popping up in your own life. Also, if sleep is weird this week and you took your time to maybe get the energy out, you got away from the computers and all the blue light bullshit, and you're still having trouble sleeping, try breath work, increasing your magnesium, going on longer walks without phones or without technology, just kind of soaking up that outside fresh air, fresh wind through your lungs. That is going to work wonders. This Saturday, June 14th, the sun in Gemini is trining the moon in Aquarius. This is definitely one of my favorite moments for the week because Gemini and Aquarius are both air signs. So they're very, very sharp. They also are run by the nervous system because Gemini's ruler is Mercury and Aquarius's ruler is Uranus, and both of them are known as nervous planets. We probably won't have great sleep this day either. I know. I keep saying, like, probably not a great sleep day. And look, it might not all hit you at once, but now we're looking at air signs because with air signs, your brain's always going. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, you are air. You may feel your body all of a sudden kick this illness that you've been fighting off over and over, like week after week. Maybe you get a random burst of creative flow, of energy, of just insight, of those aha moments. But I definitely have a tip if you are an air sign that I would love to hear feedback. You can reply to this email or you can email me at elizabeth@themedicinalmelange.com. But I highly suggest if you are an air sign, make some sun water on this day. So the 14th, wake up in the morning, put some water in any size jar, bowl, dish, something. Obviously, you're going to want to cover it. If it's just a bowl, put like a little netting over it or something so the bugs don't get in. But make some solar water. You literally just put some water under the sun. You're charging it up with the intentions and the energy that is coming down from those planets. Now, if you are new and you're all of a sudden just listening to this because I went from email written format to an audio format, let me be clear. If we can agree that the full moon energetically kind of triggers or changes things within people, then we can definitely agree that other planets the same thing can happen. So what we're doing is we're taking the energies that are given to us and radiating down from these planets and preserving it in this life force, in this water. And what you do is you take it and you put it into little ice cube trays, freeze them. After you freeze them, let's say 6 months from now, you're feeling like shit, put a couple ice cubes into your drink and bring back that restorative, miraculous healing energy that we are capturing this weekend. Another option is if you need a little bit of extra luck, maybe just in a foul mood, shit hasn't been going your way, you've been really irritated about it, go ahead and reach for those solar water ice cubes and put them into your drink because we're bottling the energy for later. We're capturing true vitality in a glass for air signs. And the last important part, in my opinion, that I want to touch on is going to be on June 15th. Mars is squaring Uranus and Jupiter is also squaring Saturn. This is very explosive energy. Mars and Uranus don't really ease into things, they erupt. Uranus is a fidgety one, like you got to watch that one, right? Lots of all of a sudden moments. And Mars can be very outwardly explosive. And so when you take the electricity of Uranus and the fire or the spark of Mars, it's really where we see this collision. And we may feel that we're at some sort of breaking point this week. And it could be external things in the news, in our systems, something we all feel collectively. And I know that I cannot be the only one who has been feeling this way, but it also could be internal. Maybe your lymph nodes have been very swollen and it starts draining you. Maybe there's an emotional blockage that will kind of clear up when we bring together the elements of Jupiter squaring Saturn. That's a good point for release, but Mars squaring Uranus is like the tension between expansion and restriction. It's the part of you that wants to grow and the part of you that is extremely scared to let go, because if you do that, if you release, you might not know what's on the other side. Every time I've let go, it has been the most cathartic, almost karmic release that I could ask for. So for some, this will be a pressure valve release. For others, it might be a call to be a little bit more discerning. What are you committed to? What are you tolerating? These are the questions we're going to ask each other and ourselves this week. So that's it for this week. It's not soft, but it's honest. This full moon, and with it being in the bends, we just have this extra pressure. You start feeling the full moon about 3 days before, and it lasts about 3 days after. But we are definitely being asked to check out where the energy is surging, where the energy is misfiring. There is healing qualities in moving the body. A lot of the times we get clarity not by thinking of different possibilities, but choosing to be intentional and physically doing something different. If this weekly astrology forecast resonated with you and you do want deeper clarity, remember that you can book a one-on-one session with me. We go into exactly where Jupiter is stretching you this season and how to work with it, not necessarily against it. And with that, I will see y'all next week.